been watching this thing for a while, and I'm as torn as probably anyone with regard to this situation. I understand what we're up against and what we need to do. I just don't think that where we're going is in the right direction. One of the biggest problems as elected officials and people that represent other folks is that we have unbelievable decisions to make. And as we make those decisions, we have to be as informed as possible. And I think we should feel passionate about our decisions. I have colleagues here that wouldn't vote a tax on a good day with everything well done. And there are others that, would, because if they feel strongly about the issue. I am hesitant. I think that one of the biggest problems we've had with our taxes, starting way back and, before Mr. Jarvis got involved with the property taxes, is somehow we're not leveling with the public. I think everybody can respect government. I think everybody can respect their responsibilities to property taxes and all that's associated with it. And they can even respect the responsibilities that the legislature with regulatory boards like the Water Board and responsibilities that the courts have placed on all of us collectively to carry out this important environmental responsibility. What happened is that somewhere in that process, this has been turned over, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, to a group of people who probably didn't understand how sensitive the political issues are here. And if they did, you wouldn't know by today's events. I was as troubled as anyone by the mailer. I am one of those people that did throw it out in my junk mail. I went looking for it, and so I found it amongst my mother's things, who saves everything and tries to read everything. But when I asked her about it, she didn't know what it was, because she reads in Spanish, and I was troubled by that part of it. Somewhere along the way, they made decisions about how this was going to be carried out, and very, very little discussion with my colleagues here, because I know they were equally as surprised by some of these things. I still am not even sure. When I read some of it about the schools protesting this, I'm as angry as anyone. We don't want the schools to pay more. But the schools are major polluters. Let's face it. You even made arrangements with them to say, okay, we'll waive the fee if you'll get involved in some proactive education. They said, no, we're busy. We don't have time to that. Right? So it troubles me that not everybody wants to hold up their part of the sky. And the reality is, somewhere along the way, I think political people, or some people were more political than I may think, and created this mechanism, and I'm troubled by that. I'm troubled by it greatly on many levels. I don't even know what's going to clean the water. I mean, I've asked a couple of times as to what cities will do. I think others have. And I mean, there's a guy that says, you just chase around dogs and collect poo and DNA it. And, that might be a solution. I don't know. Certainly doesn't sound reasonable. And at the end of the day, I'm saying, what are the consequences? Okay, there are fines. And I have been told there's going to be fines. I asked earlier what the question was going to be and whether they're going to live. Well, they haven't decided that as yet. The cities are coming in and protesting. Their elected officials are protesting. Very troublesome. Very troublesome. Because you think the cities would recognize and understand, as I am being told, but maybe nobody's told them, that there are going to be major fines that the cities will pay. We're not going to pay them. The County of Los Angeles isn't going to pay them. Now, the unincorporated areas of the county we will pay. But the city of LA is not going to pay for Burbank. Not paying for Rosemead, Margaret. Those cities will have to pay those fines. But what I'm troubled by is that they don't know that, or they don't seem to know that. And if they do know it and still oppose it, then I think we need to know that as well. Because no one wants to pay one more dollar for property taxes. And no one wants to spend one more dollar for government if we don't know where it's going. Right now, we clearly don't know where it's going. It hasn't been well defined. I wish it were. There's a pool of money that's been asked for, and this is the beginning of it, but we don't know how it's going to be utilized. It's sort of like approving a budget that's endless without ever knowing what you're going to do. I am troubled by so many aspects of this, and I just really believe this is not ready. I mean, when I asked the question about why not allow a property owner who's already invested in all his responsibilities and pays for water treatment and has requirements under his property that's going to, why isn't he waived? They said, well, we haven't done that yet. Well, what's taken so long? All of these unanswered questions, and now we're being put in a 60, even 90 day. And it's just, there are so many unanswered questions. Folks, I'm sorry to tell you, I am usually one that is practically will, close my eyes to an environmental issue because I support it so much. But this one is just, I can't. I just cannot. It just seems as though we need to educate everyone about this and tell them what their responsibility. Cities don't want to take on this responsibility, then they're elected officials, and then they're going to have to be fined in those cities. City of Bell has no way of paying for this, okay? I don't know what they're going to do. They have a job to do. I can't educate everyone. You can't educate anyone. But there's got to be a better partnership here, because the only way we're going to get a property tax, we're on our way to losing. And I just think that some people would just like to get on the ballot, do it, and let's get it out of the way. And if it wins, it wins. And if it doesn't win, so what? At the end of the day, it's not going to be healthy for us. So we have an awful lot to do, and I think there were a lot of balls dropped along the way. And we ought to take some ownership of it, including myself. And I just think now that we're here on this day, there are so many untied issues here, so many proposals that are undone and unclear, so many answers that are not clear. And I'm one of those, when people can't answer questions clearly, I lose my faith and my trust. And so that's where I'm at now. So I really think, I don't know the appropriate golf term. Is it a mulligan, Don? I don't know what we do, but we start over. We do over. This just doesn't work for me now.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Molina. The
County Council.
item is before